Welcome to another episode of I Quit My Job. My name is Slowly Plus One. This gentleman coming on, Lawrence Collimore. And Lawrence,
Yeah, man.
brother,
Yeah,
I want to thank you so much for
yeah,
showing
man.
up.
Thank
This
you for
means a
having
lot
us.
to us, it means a lot to me just to see the growth. I get inspired by what you do.
Lawrence Collymore. I'm the founder of Prospect Luxury Homes, and what I'm doing right now is building for clients luxury homes in the South Mississauga, Etobicoke space. And yeah, we're doing a good job in delivering dreams for these people.
So let's jump into it, man. How did you start getting into this whole entrepreneurial life? Was there ever a moment that you said, I'm quitting a job and this is where I'm going?
It just from the get go, I really love what you're doing here, and I've been listening to the stories that you've had on air, and mine's a little different. I never really had that moment in a job, and decided to quit. Maybe it kind of happened when I was a teenager, just before or during when we were at Ryerson. I was in the food industry at that at that stage.
The food industry, what do you
Yeah.
mean by that? Like,
Well, yeah.
part?
Well, you know what? I started, working, in at the Golden Griddle, then went on to York Hanover Hotels, Skyline Triumph, and was actually thinking about, becoming a chef at that point. That was pretty much the last time I ever worked for somebody at that point.
What I remember about this gentleman, he's always had a briefcase walking
Yeah,
down
man, you
the
remember that
hallway.
back in the day? Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
what is wrong with this dude? He has a briefcase. Dude, get a knapsack.
Man, you got a good memory. I didn't even remember that, but that's true, right?
That stood out. So now
yeah.
when you talk about your, all the
Yeah.
things you've done as an entrepreneur, it just shows right there if you're walking with a briefcase.
Yeah,
this man knows his business, knows he's adding into business. So yeah, start. Like, how did you jump into that whole food, and just kind of give us that timeline?
I actually hooked up with a guy that I used to work with, and he let me know that there was a government program that you could get money.
Oh wow!
Right? You just had to match it a certain way, and it was totally forgivable if things didn't work out. And there was a plaza up in Rexdale, North Rexdale, Roundtree Plaza, the plaza's name, that was just being built by a company called Lustig Holdings, and I was up there in the neighborhood, and I inquired about a space that was just under 1,100 square feet, and they gave me a great deal in terms of the leasehold improvements and that. And yeah, I took the plunge and was able to open a restaurant back in the day called Backyard Restaurant. We actually expanded. We had a nice little joint in Humber College.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Nice.
And then, so that lasted a few years as well. Got out of that space and jumped into the cash-based financial service space.
How did that transition happen from like food to financial services? Like, how did that happen? Like,
well, it really happened organically, just through people I knew, and I had a good friend that started the business, and he liked the plaza that we had the restaurant in, and I told him to come up there, and they got a unit in that same plaza, and the restaurant business is definitely taxing, and I got out of that space, and it just happened at a perfect timing. They were looking at expanding and getting into franchising their concept.
Wow.
And yeah, and I took the leap of faith with them. Hindsight's 2020. If I had the skills and the wherewithal that I had now, or even, and it's huge when you hear it on, and I hear you speak of it when you speak to groups. You're looking at coaches and mentors. They're huge, right? Because I had a few. Actually, one that really stands out is a gentleman by the name of Trevor, who started Trevor Lloyd Real Estate back in the day. But then he left and went back to Jamaica, and so I really didn't have mentors, to say stick it out, and, let me help you here and all of that. So you know what? It was a lot of work, and this was in your 20s. You know, you
Yes,
see
yes,
see
yes.
guys going out, man,
Yeah,
and
yeah. You're there
and
at
and I'm
the
there, but I'm there cooking. Like I'm there with my food truck outside
Yes,
selling
yes,
food, right?
yes,
Remember
yes.
them trucks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you took advantage of the whole industry.
Yeah, yeah. So
I love that. I love that.
uh,
You actually found other revenue sources other than just
yeah, man.
the capital side of it, where there's a building and this is where you come. You
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
went to the people.
No, definitely. That was a huge part of it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and any event in between. It was just work, 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 and I guess you get a little tired.
So then, how did this financial service? How did that all start with you?
I was privy to the business through the guys who actually started it,
Mhm.
and they they structured a financial program. I'm sorry, a franchise program that was attractive. The fee was not huge. I knew it was going to be a successful concept because of Money Mart, and they didn't have a viable competitor. So
Wow,
I knew guaranteed it was going to run.
wow, wow.
So I jumped in, and it wasn't even me. Like I wasn't special. They were shopping it around. I just saw that this would definitely grow.
So now we're in the financial side of it.
Mhm.
Explain the ups and downs, and then how did you transition to other things and to
Yeah.
lead you to the Prospect Luxury Homes?
Okay. Yeah, I got into the business. Uh, I found a location just down the road here,
Mhm.
and it's still there. And that was the first location here on St. Clair, and then they were really trying to push you to expand. So we got loans. We were able to expand to Dufford and Lawrence, and then we had another one in St. Clair and Kiel,
Oh,
and
nice.
St. Clair and Bathurst. Yeah, they wanted to continue to grow, and they actually gave me an offer to actually buy the franchises, and I said yes, and it's sold.
It's sold.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So this is amazing. So you're going from the food industry now. You jumped into financial services, and you have a couple franchises. What kind of knowledge did you have jumping from one space to another space, or is it just guts and glory, and I'm doing it? Is it like?
Well, you do your research as well, and
Mhm.
then you're always learning. And I mean, I always ask questions. I never think I know it all, and you just have to have the confidence that you can do it. And at that point in time, I wanted to get into development and building, and Claudette recently got her real estate license. So we would buy a house and then, just renovate it and get rid of it and then sell it. And it just afforded us the opportunity to, be there for the kids. I really wanted to get into actually building from the ground up. So we bought a property and I hired a builder.
Mhm.
Um, and paid him. I said, "This is going to be the easiest money you've ever made because really and truly, I'm paying you just to really teach me how to do this."
Right.
So I paid him his management fee, and we built a house in South Mississauga. Learned from the craft from him, building on spec. And then people liked the product that we were delivering, and
Mhm.
they said, "Would you build for us?"
And so now you're part of this whole luxury, development, and you see the crisis, what they speak of.
Yeah.
How do you like maintain that space that you're in right now to continue to move forward?
Well, that actual space doesn't really affect me because of the individuals that um, are commissioning me to build the house. In market like that, they're making money.
Mhm.
So interest rates really don't impact them as much.
Mhm.
Um, so especially where I'm building, and then I'm not huge. I'm only doing 3 to 5 a year, and
Mhm.
that's pretty much it. We are in that housing crisis, and I think there's huge opportunity to to grow in that space.
I know there's aha moments, but I want to know within your three industries, food, financial, and now luxury homes, what were those aha moment like, yo, this is it. I like this.
With food, I've always liked cooking.
Mhm.
Um, so an aha moment was when I said, hey, you know what? You can make this. And I still have, I had that aha moment, and I haven't really manifested that
Okay.
yet. We have a cuisine that is, for such, the West Indies in general, for
Mhm,
such a small area,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
I mean, everybody loves the food,
Right,
right?
right.
But I don't think that it has gotten to the notoriety or the deliverability that it should. When you say Chipotle,
Mhm.
everybody knows what it is.
Right,
You
right,
know what
right,
I
right,
mean?
right, right,
And we
right.
don't have that, and there's no reason. We have everything else
Mhm.
where that's concerned, but we don't have that with that food space. And I feel that, there's a huge opportunity there. So, I mean, with Cash Money, it was um, alternative financial services. Not everybody has great credit.
Right,
You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So I knew that that was an industry that would definitely, you know, get huge. And that was pre-regulation, right? So
Mhm. Right,
it
it's
was really the
regulated
what?
now.
Yeah, it's
Right.
regulated now. So it was the wild, wild west back then. So I knew that would go, right? And then housing,
Right.
right? When you look into building, this is such a young country.
Mhm,
Um, we haven't. We're just going through the first turnover of development,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So even where you are right now,
Right.
there's only a few century homes right here.
Right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right, right.
So there's a lot of homes out there that need to be redeveloped, and I'm not even talking like buying the land and building. I'm talking infill properties.
Right.
The whole of the GTA, there's a good amount of it that
Mhm.
you know
So, what's next for you, brother?
You know, trying to improve the craft, polish the craft, deliver these homes to these clients,
Mhm,
and then attack what I spoke on earlier about trying to get more people involved, getting a group together, and
mhm.
trying to really maximize on these multi-home dwellings that have been legislated in to
Mm. Wow,
this
wow.
whole new zoning
Mhm.
with this whole housing crisis. So
And how did you get your your designers, your how did you get all those construction workers or
yeah,
how did you get that to work for you?
you just got to be out there, and it's funny you say that with social media. You use it as a tool,
Mhm.
but don't use it as a guide. At the end of the day, you have to just go out there and introduce yourself. You have to promote yourself in your space.
Mm.
You can't worry about other spaces. I have a little niche that there's, man, like 10, 12 builders in this small little pocket.
Mhm.
And, I always thought, I let me start building for myself, and
Mhm.
look what happened to me again.
Wow.
Somebody
Wow.
had said, hey, can I build this? And I built it for them, and they liked it, and it's all about service.
And what is it that you think that you have that will say, "Hey, this client's comfortable with you?" Like, what is it that you're giving off?
At the end of it, it's positive energy. I mean, especially in this space, my trades that I have assembled over the years, they'll know. They'll always say, "Man, Lawrence, man, you're just positive, man." I mean, but I'm thinking at the end of the day, that we're building a house.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
how difficult is this? Any mistake that you've come up with,
Mhm.
it's been done and it's been solved. So let's figure it out,
Right.
right? And move on.
So even culturally, just you being in this space is kind of motivating just to see and there's quite a few others that are
Yeah,
doing
no,
their
they're
thing,
doing the thing. They're
you know what
doing
I'm
some
saying?
really good.
So myself just knowing you and saying, "Hey, I know a developer," those are probably prominent in other cultures.
Yeah, yeah.
But to kind of our culture is to say, "Hey, I know someone that does luxury homes. I know someone that does luxury relocation." As a serial entrepreneur, what advice can you give somebody out there that is just, because serial entrepreneur is almost like an industry now.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. I understand that dormant demand, man. I remember a professor saying that to me. That's all it is. there's demand everywhere.
Mhm.
It's just dormant, and you have to resurrect the dormancy. And
Wow.
if you can do that, you're going to be successful.
Wow, I love that. So everything out there, there's a dormancy to it, and if you can bring it to the surface,
Yeah, man.
then you'll be successful
Absolutely. And deliver it.
and deliver it.
That's
Delivery
the
is
thing,
part
man. I
of
mean,
it.
all about, I mean, there's ideas. You can be an incredible idea guy and you don't know a lick about execution,
Right.
right? Or be an incredible idea guy and it's everything is just, stagnant. That doesn't move,
Right. Right.
there's inertia. And that's the difference between people that are successful when it comes to doing things
Mhm.
and people that, or I would say entrepreneurs and people who are really not entrepreneurs. Um, they act on that inertia, right?
Right.
So
right.
they get things going and they believe that they can get things going.
Man, Lawrence, I want to thank you so much for
My brother.
showing up on this podcast. I love the gems that you've dropped, and I'm inspired just by you being a serial entrepreneur, doing all the things that you're doing. It's and actually knowing you, and knowing you for years. Thank you so much for
Thanks
showing
for
up.
having me. Thank you for thinking about me, man.
Always,
you.
brother.
All right,
And as
keep
you
doing
know,
what you're doing.
this is I Quit My Job, where the ordinary stories lead to extraordinary inspirations. I'm Slowly +1, and I appreciate you checking in. Peace.